Digital systems have become like the human body. They learn, it adapts, and they require continuous monitoring and care to stay healthy. And that's where Cytadel comes in. Cytadel is an AI red teaming platform, basically digital checkups that catch the vulnerabilities before the other attackers, before the bad guys do. And to learn more about that, please welcome Manit from Cytadel to the stage.
Hey everyone, thanks for being here. So I'm Annual DataTribe, and I'm the founder and CEO of Cytadel. And I help organizations strengthen their defenses against cyber attacks by identifying the weaknesses before attackers do. Now, my background is UK government and defense, and I'm the former head of penetration testing and red teaming for the UK Central Bank, the Bank of England, where I use defensive techniques to protect the UK's payment and gold systems. I'm certified by the National Cybersecurity Centre and His Majesty's CSG check scheme, and I hold a number of accreditations, including OSCP and CREST. Now, I've spent the last 10 years in offensive operations and the last 7 in covert red teaming operations. And I'm here to address the industry problem. Despite millions being spent on cybersecurity, cyber attacks are getting worse. And this is because we have no idea if our tools protect us when it counts. This is evident from the recent Jaguar Land Rover breach with a loss of 1.9 billion. In addition to that, in the UK, we've seen attacks on retail, the likes of Harrods, Co-op, and M&S, with a combined loss of 1.8 billion, including the breach of customer data. Now, from my hands-on technical experience as a practitioner, attacks are successful because of 2 reasons. 1, technology oversight, so the misconfiguration of security tooling, misdeployment of patching, and mistelemetry. Secondly, and most importantly, defenses tools are bought but never tested, all providing a false sense of security. Now, throughout my time working in high maturity environments, I found that red teaming is the most effective way to validate defenses. This was proven with the Bank of England's CBEST framework, which is used to regulate all financial institutions in the UK. This uses a threat-led approach to verify your controls are tested and you have response and recovery. This framework was so successful, it is now used across the globe as the global standard for the UK, Europe, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Now, verification currently is done in 2 ways: manual red teaming and BAS solutions, which are checklists. However, as we know, manual is not scalable and checklists are not effective. This is why today, continuous red teaming is the required solution. We need software able to run continuously across multiple domains with a continuous assurance against the latest attacks. We need it to be comprehensive, so software able to make decisions, full attack chains across the environment, across different technology stacks, whether on-prem or cloud. Important, it needs to be realistic, so threat-led, adaptive, and evasive, operating like attackers do. It needs to be cost-effective and scalable, and lastly, it needs to have a human fail-safe for human oversight. This is why I created Cytadel. Cytadel is an AI-driven, autonomous red teaming platform built for CISOs by ethical hackers. Cytadel discovers, validates, and quantifies full attack paths against organization security defenses. And we do this to reduce business risk. From our ransomware resilience use case, we validate your defenses, we determine the blast radius, and we quantify your response and recovery in the event of a ransomware breach. This provides a full audit of your business continuity, defensive weaknesses, and prioritized remediations. At Cytadel, we verify your defenses before attackers do. So let's look at how it works. So we've trained agentic agents which interact with our MCP. Each agent is trained using our unique threat-led and evasive approach. They make tactical decisions, adapt to defenses, and then deliver actionable remediations. We can do this within 8 minutes. This is 550 times faster than ransomware groups operate today. And for integrity, we've included the human in the loop for that human oversight for regulated and high maturity environments. So looking at our roadmap, phase 1 is where we focused on technical depth, where it matters the most. Ransomware attack chains and readiness recovery. As an example, we've bypassed the top 3 EDR vendors and then detonated ransomware, even though they advertise ransomware prevention. This is how attacks are happening, and there's no other product that can test for this. Phase 2 is where we are currently and are leveraging AI to speed up our execution. For us, AI is the enabler, not the secret sauce. By speeding up the attack chain, we can provide initial access to full compromise in under 8 minutes. As a comparison, manual red teams take between 4 and 6 weeks to do this. Phase 3 is our future and where we close the resilience loop. As defensive products evolve and embed their own MCPs, such as Microsoft Sentinel, we can feed our results directly into these MCPs to drive automated remediations, providing real-time risk reduction. Looking at our competitive landscape, our competitors are either not realistic or not comprehensive, which is why we have the full sense of security we have today. Cytadel delivers real-world assurance through adaptive and autonomous red teaming that evolves like attackers do. This is the only way to measure cyber resilience without using a manual approach. Cytadel today is completely bootstrapped. We are profitable and have 2 paying design partners using our solution. Our product demo shows time to value in under 8 minutes, and we're looking for funding to help accelerate our growth. Our red team is the top 1% globally, with over 20 years red teaming experience. We come from a CBEST heritage, which is our edge, and this positioning allows us to be the first AI red team without question. As well as myself, we have Tony, the CTO, who is ex-Silvertails, acquired by RSA, and the ex-VP of product from Synac. We have Tim, who's our chairman and serial entrepreneur, who is the former CEO of vArmor and Silvertails. AI red teaming is inevitable. Cytadel owns the credibility and the code. We would like to raise 3 million. This will provide us a 24-month runway for us to achieve a 2.5 million ARR by the end of 2027. At this point, we will have 25 customers with an annual contract value of 100K per customer. Your capital helps us accelerate our go-to-market and our product scale. We want to expand our team and our global reach to elevate Cytadel as the category leader in AI red teaming. Now, our vision is in the next 3 years, every enterprise will have an AI red team operating alongside its SOC. Cytadel intends to be the engine powering it. Thank you, and I invite any questions.
Nice presentation, thank you. I'm glad you listed the competitors. There's a very active landscape. I'm curious on 2 points. One, usage-based pricing potentially is a pretty attractive way to get revenue fairly quickly because it could be self-service, especially around SDLC-related workflows. So I think you said you're trying to target 3 million or something 2.5 million ARR in a year. Is that right?
Yeah.
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 So that seems fairly low considering the total addressable market for SDLC. Is there a reason you're going more into the red teaming market and less into the software development side?
So we have been conservative. And I think my background being red team, that's where we're focused. So looking at the CISOs and how we protect like majority of organizations using that red team lens. And then also for high maturity environments who do have a red team, we've built in our product like it's called an override mode to allow red teams to be able to use this to support their operations.
Okay, so the CISOs and the red teams are the target customer. Thank you. And then I guess the phase 3 is interesting from the CISO's perspective because you go from being an observability platform to being something that actually actively changes your production environment. So there's a lot more risk in that phase 3 step. So I'm kind of curious how you're thinking about that.
It's a great question. So we don't do the remediation. We know that tools will start to do it. So for the likes of Microsoft Sentinel, they're building their MCP, which they have already, that can tune their defenses. Now, if we can hook in to their MCPs, we can then push the results and specify what needs to be changed. So we don't look after the defensive side. We just give our results to them in real time. And that is better than raising SOAR or SIEM tickets from what we found, because they take weeks to action.
So you said you were able to bypass the top 3 EDR vendors. You said 8 minutes. What's your typical attack path for your AI guy? Like, where does he start?
So it's typically on-prem. So what we find is a lot of high maturity environments are on-prem, whether they're hybrid or not. But it's a misconfiguration of tooling, misconfiguration of AD, allows privilege escalation. And then from there, whether it's credentials, the initial access point is where, the first phase of EDR gets bypassed. And I think unless you really test these EDR vendors, they have a lot of, I would say a lot of fluff around what they can do. And when they come up against a proper red team, or for the likes of myself, skilled professionals that really validate what they're doing, we start to break holes in their solutions. As an example, one of the EDR vendors, which a lot of people use, say they roll back from ransomware if encrypted. But how many people have actually tested a rollback? We did that for a client, and we found out that this vendor does not roll back. They can roll back the asset, but they cannot roll back the data. So the data remains encrypted.
Do you do any other attack path validation across, coming in from the outside, or edge security, identity security? Do you test any of that stuff, or are you primarily focused on, once the actor is on the endpoint, that's where you're testing?
So what we've found with this solution is that CISOs want it from that initial compromise, the assumed breach point, because that's where they get the most value. However, I've weaponized offensive operations for vishing and deepfakes. So we dechain the initial access to allow that to be standalone. So we do have that in a product, but we don't combine both of them together, because what we find from customers is that they don't want just click a button and the whole attack is done. They want to dechain it. Social engineering, you come up to legal aspects by social engineering individuals, and you don't want to use their compromised device to do the rest of the compromise.
And probably one more silly follow-up idea. If a lot of actors are just exfilling and extorting, do you test for that? How do you detect the exfil? How do you stop that?
So we don't stop it. So we will emulate that. So we will exfiltrate data through different sources. So you could use services, whether it's Payspin, Dropbox, whether it's, triggering Microsoft Purview, for example. So we understand whether it's your server or your endpoint, are you picking up data exfiltration going out? So because servers and standard endpoints have different rules, so they're treated differently. So you need to make sure that your DLP is actionable on both sides.
What's the size of a typical customer contract here? Like 30,000, 50,000?
So typically we deal with high maturity customers. So for example, one of the customers we have at the moment, they have 8 domains. So when we think about our pricing, we've allocated 100K per domain because we know that even if you're a medium environment, you have typically 2 domains. That way it's reasonable for them and it's reasonable for us.
So very focusing, okay, on domain. And then final question from me. Let's assume the models get smarter. How does your product change?
Sorry, I missed that.
If the models get smarter, how does your product change?
So we have built offline LLMs for exactly this reason. So what we find today, and Anthropic's Red Report discovered this as well, is that when you use standard AI to be able to conduct attacks, it doesn't have the knowledge. It will use standard run-of-the-mill tools to be able to conduct the attack, which are detected. So using our TTPs that we've learned over the last 20 years, 10 years, 20 years experience, we've trained our own LLMs with that telemetry that hooks in. So that way we keep our data off cloud models.
So are you primarily selling in EMEA right now, or are you in the Americas?
So right now we have a UN client, a UN agency, so in Switzerland. And then we have a FTSE 50, which is global.
Are you planning on standing up to you're looking to hire, go to market, right? You're looking to hire sellers. Are you planning to stand up your primary capability in EMEA or in the Americas or someplace else?
Yeah, I think, me being out here in the States, we want to land and expand in the States and use that. Yes.
Are you you're based in the Americas now?
So I'm based in London, but Tony's based in the States and Tim is based in the States.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.